I'm back again. This segment of the evening is very special to me. Every once in a while in your life, you experience something brand new, and when you experience that, it's so powerful, it just becomes a part of you, and it lives in you, and you become moved. And that happened to me last Saturday when I attended Slamming the Sun Down Poetry Slam as a judge. And you're going to learn about all of this very soon. But I wrote an essay about my experience, and it's called Antiquated. In August of last year, I turned 50, and this is my midlife crisis on paper. So it's called Antiquated. Okay, I did it this week. I'm embarrassed to admit it in public, but yes, depressed, I Googled, what are the advantages to getting old? I had my eyes opened to my appearance after a spiky-haired teenager held the door for me as I was entering Walgreens. I had to turn around to see if I was blocking an elderly person from entering. Nope, it was just me. I said, "Cool, thanks." And he said, "No problem, sir." There it was, that dreaded profane three-letter word, sir. It seemed just a short while ago I was rocking a Ministry or Nine Inch Nails t-shirt and torn jeans. Maybe the fact that I was carrying the collected poems of Robert Frost threw him off and stopped him from seeing we were brothers in rebellion. Recently, I had the honor of being a judge at a Louder Than a Bomb-sponsored teen poetry slam. The competition was held at the West Chicago Community High School. The fact that it has been 36 years since I've been in a high school wasn't lost on me as I entered the high school doors. Anyone who knows me knows of my deep passion for and the knowledge of poetry and literature that I have. I am a poet, a spoken word artist as well. That alone made me feel I belonged at this gathering. Most of the other judges seemed to be nearly my age. The contestants chilled in the auditorium practicing poems, hanging with friends and dancing to the DJ spinning a collage of hip-hop sounds and styles. I had no problem appreciating the loud music, being a musician myself, until I tried to have a heady conversation with another judge. Why does it have to be so loud? I almost heard myself asking the other. Oh no, an old person red flag. I used to go to Ted Nugent concerts and couldn't hear for days after. We called that a party. In the heat of the competitions, the poets were spitting rhymes, using the sharp-tongued bravado that only angst can fuel and aching teenagers can brandish. It was fast, it was street, it was dripping with heartache, and it was poetry. I was amazed at the energetic, witty lines that blasted from the speakers like alphabetic ammunition. Then it was time for the workshop portion of the program. The judges were invited to participate. We were to write poems from prompts and share them with the small groups into which we had broken. Awesome, I thought. It was my turn to prove I could roll with the best of them, and I did. I let my story bounce onto the paper like the backbeat hip-hop that flowed earlier from the DJ's turntables. The eternal 15-year-old that still lives in my being rejoiced. That same being that learned to rock an electric guitar, taming its feedback into a harmonious wail, came to the forefront of my personality. And when it came time to recite what we created, I did. And they seemed to appreciate my attempt. However, I felt like King Solomon bringing the Psalms to a, poetry slam. Days later, I reflected on the event and came to call it one of the most important experiences of my life. I was honored to be invited into their world, watching uncut, raw talent being developed, proud of the young ones who will inherit the world from my generation. Sure, now it will be in good hands. And by the way, sorry kids for the condition we left it in. I listened to those writers bring their sometimes desperate, heartbreaking, and confusing worlds to the blank page, and taking it further, being brave enough to shout it from a live microphone. I came slowly to terms with the fact that I had my chance. I spent my youth the way I chose to. I've become a completely different person from the 15-year-old I was, and really, I don't want to travel back to that difficult time of young adulthood. I had in my head compared their painfully cutting-edge young person's poetry, full of the broken glass on the streets and experience, to the poetry I write now, which includes sunflowers along the riverbanks. I had judged my writing as weak and soft, but after much contemplation, I now see it is a wise poetry, one that only arrives from living a full life and this far into middle age. Thank you.
Sorry.
Because my youngest brother has special needs, he always needed constant care and attention. When I go to college, I just worry that he's gonna kind of just forget about me. But I can't help but wonder if he will remember.
Will he remember how he slept in my bed every night after Mama left, and I held him like an extra pillow?
So competence means essential that you lose. I'll leave your dreams of her. My ego is less than you.
We won last year, and I don't think we were half as good as we are now. I really don't see how we can lose.
Good right now. You ain't wrong now.
Ain't nobody stepped up with me.
Sometimes as this little kid, I see potential in this kid, that this kid could just do great things.
The last 3 days, I've done nothing but one year off on these kids. And then the more and more I think about it today, I just can't, you know?
Sucker.
Does not change the world. Learning about new people and understanding new people and really feeling inspired by people who are very different than you, I would like to say that that's changing the world. And if not, it's definitely coming much, much closer.
Try not to point it at the speaker. You just have to hold that or clip it on you, okay?
Okay, let's try and clip it on you somewhere. There we go. Hi. Hello. Oh, there we are. My name is Diana Zwinak, and I am the Executive Director for Teen Writers and Artists Project. We were the group that hosted the Slam in the Sundown. I'm trying to figure out how not to point this at the speaker. There we go. Okay, we are the group that hosted or produced Slam in the Sundown, which, Frank, oh my God, I'm so touched that it touched you like that. It makes me so proud to have been able to do that for you, because I've been involved with Louder Than a Bomb for roughly 5 years. For the past 2 years, we've actually hosted a regional, and it's changed my life like that from the very first moment. And my dream in bringing Louder Than a Bomb out here, Louder Than a Bomb-based activities, is to change lives, not only kids' lives, but our lives too, because every kid has a story. You know, you're not just, the street isn't the only story that people have. The suburbs have their story too. Every kid has something that they need to say. And so part of what I want to do is I want to bring this here. I want to get more schools involved in this, in going into the organization. And I'm jumping ahead of myself because what I really wanted to do was start at the beginning, because there's a lot of organizations that are involved in this. So let's kind of rewind. 13 years ago, young Chicago authors got together with a poet by the name of Kevin Koval. He had a educating partner. Her name was Anna West, and they started a poetry slam in response to when the Twin Towers fell. If you'll recall, there was laws that were passed that told people that teenagers could not congregate in larger than groups of 2. And it was very disenfranchising to all of the teenagers in the city, especially to the minority groups. It really shut them down. So what Kevin and Anna did was they created this festival where kids could come together and tell their stories, and instead of having old people sitting there and going, well, yeah, you're the problems with everything that's going on in the world, people were actually listening to them. And people were paying attention to things. And it started out just a handful of teams in the basement of the Chopin Theater in Chicago. And across 13 years, I was just at a coaches meeting yesterday, there are 100 teams competing in that festival this year. They have 7 cities across the country that have just taken up this festival, and there are 6 regionals in the Chicagoland area. There are 3 in the city itself, the north side, the west side, and the south side, and then there's the North Suburban, the South Suburban Indiana one, and mine, which is the West Suburban or Slamming the Sundown. It's really, really exciting. It's an amazing thing to be a part of, and I'm so glad that you guys all got involved, because it does my heart good to see that. And what I'm hoping for, I've brought all kinds of materials with me. I've brought, and I will gladly pass them out to anybody who wants them. I've got bookmarks. I've got some posters in case you run a library or know somebody at a school or something who you would like to find out more about Louder Than a Bomb. It's got the dates of the various events with the festival. It starts on February 16th and it runs every single day through March 9th with all of these poets competing from all of these schools. Let's see, if there's 100 schools, that makes, I'm not real good at math, but if every school brings 6 poets, that's 600 teens from the Chicagoland area that are involved in this. They've got, their finals are going to be at the Cadillac Theater this year on March 9th. That's an upgrade from the Vic. They've filled the Vic to capacity, all the way with people sitting in the aisles for the past 3 years. And so now they've moved it to the Cadillac Theater, and they want to fill that too. So if you guys are in the mood to see really, really the best of the best, the greatest teen poets that the Chicago area has to offer, you should buy tickets for that, because that's going to be an amazing thing. They're always looking for volunteers. It's just a really great thing. So I've got all kinds of stuff about that. I've also got a brochure from my organization, Teen Writers and Artists. If you're interested in becoming involved, if you have a teenager who you think should become involved, if you've got teachers who you want to send my way so that we can start teams all over the place, this has got all the information that you need. And somewhere here, I've also got a flyer that you can give to your individual teens that you might know who might like to start writing or getting better at poetry and spoken word. It's for a workshop that we're holding every other month. Our first one starts on January 25th. It's called Wheaton Wordplay. It's going to be hosted by one of the poets that you saw in this this trailer here, Adam Gottlieb. He's bringing it out to the suburbs. It's one of the things that he credits for making him the writer that he is. I know Lamar Jordan, who is also in here, he also credits wordplay as being one of the educational things that helped him become the writer that he is. So, you know, there's just like tons of stuff and tons of ways to get involved. And I love you guys for inviting me here and for coming out and for hosting. And I'm just humbled by everything that's happened since last Saturday. It's just an amazing thing. And if somebody doesn't take this microphone away from me, I'm going to babble and babble and babble.
Thank you, Diana. All right, like I do every month, please like us on Facebook. Why it's important, I don't know, but it seems important. We'd like to thank our volunteers, Nick, Laura, Barbara. Let's give a shout out to our photographer, Mr. Edison back there. Edison, wave to the crowd. Yeah, good man. Ginny, Frank, and of course Rick, the bartender, whom we all love. Thank you to tonight's writers. Thanks for being here. We do appreciate it. Thanks again to Gibby's and others who brought food and drink. It was delicious. Thanks to everyone at Water Street for hosting. You guys have been so helpful. And most of all, thanks to all of you for being here tonight. We really do appreciate it. Good night.